Human rights groups say the number of revenge killings by revolutionary forces in Libya is escalating sharply. New York-based Human Rights Watch suggests that NTC fighters are terrorizing displaced residents of the coastal town of Tawergha for supporting the old regime. Well, for more on this, I'm joined live by Fred Abrahams. He's from Human Rights Watch, one of the authors of the report outlining these abuses. Fred, thanks very much indeed for being with us here on RT. So tell us, what is happening in Libya now? Just how bad are these alleged violent reprisals?
Well, in some places, the violence is quite bad. The town we looked at was called Tawergha, and the militias from the neighboring town of Misrata are terrorizing the people of Tawergha. They accuse them of having fought for Gaddafi, of having committed atrocities in his name. And, you know, the problem here is that the militias are not under the control of the political authorities, the civilian authorities, and that's the big challenge for Libya going forward, is bringing the many militias under a unified civilian command, and that will help solve this problem.
Do you think, though, the NTC could be capable of doing that, or do you think there really is a real threat of the country slipping back into civil war?
Well, the NTC leadership on a political level has been very good on this. They condemn revenge. They say Libya is about building a future with human rights and the rule of law. The problem is that the many militias, hundreds of militias, sometimes from just a neighborhood, have many weapons now, and they say, look, we fought, we lost comrades in this battle, and now we want to have a stake, a seat at the table, and bringing them under control will be difficult. I don't think Libya is facing a civil war, but I also think there's going to be rough times ahead as we shift from the military phase to a political transition and trying to build Libya in a more democratic manner.
Nevertheless, should there not be still a military presence? Does the NTC not need some help? NATO says, and it has indeed ended its campaign, but isn't that a very good reason why NATO should perhaps stay on? After all, its mission was to protect civilians.
Well, I think that NATO's mission is essentially finished, but that doesn't mean the international community is finished. Far from it. You know, this was an intervention to protect civilians. There was a military action that caused this dramatic transition in Libya, so there's a responsibility now to make sure that the transition works, that the new Libya is actually better than the old Libya. And that means the United Nations, first and foremost. It means the governments that were active in the NATO campaign, France, Britain, the United States. It means Arab states like Qatar, and all of them have to be engaged in helping Libya move forward in a democratic manner. It will not be easy, and they have the responsibility.
I suppose it is expected in the immediate aftermath of such a tense and bloody time for the country that you are going to get a lot of tension and violence and indeed reprisals. But with the promise of elections coming up in about 7 or 8 months' time, do you have any optimism that there could indeed be stability in the country in the near future?
I have guarded optimism. Look, people have deep grievances from 4 decades of tyranny. Just like after the fall of communism, there is an emotion towards revenge and cleaning the system of the nomenclatura, as it was called in the Eastern Europe and former Soviet Union. So there's a lot of challenges, but there's also hope, because the Libyans now want to build something better. It's a small country. They don't have divisions like in Iraq of Sunni, Shia, and Kurds, and they have a lot of oil. The oil can be a curse, but I think in this case there is potential. There is potential for Libya to become something better, something more democratic.
Just want to ask you, our correspondents are reporting from Tripoli saying that those speaking against the new transitional government are being persecuted. Of course, we've heard about, and we're talking about now, those tensions in Misrata and Tawergha, where we had these reprisals. But why do you think the international community is not really being kept informed on a much wider basis on the current tensions there? Is it something that the media and those who clearly, the Western media, it's an issue that they want to brush under the carpet to say, look, this has been a successful revolution so far?
Well, look, there's definitely a trend to say we did the right thing, meaning NATO governments, they want to say that this was a successful operation. So there is a tendency to downplay the conflicts and the tensions now. But at the same time, in our discussions with some of these governments, they're taking them very seriously because they know that this will cause problems in the future. They want them addressed now, trying to support the more open-minded and democratic-minded forces within the new authorities and move Libya in the right direction. So there is concern, and I think that governments are nervous about these tensions, the revenge, and they're trying to take steps to quell it.
And clearly, the likes of you, Human Rights Watch, are there, monitoring the situation, so keeping an eye for the rest of the international community to see what's going on there. Thank you very much indeed, Fred Abrahams, for sharing your experience and your views on what's happening there in Libya at the moment. Thank you.